Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. This is episode 250. That is very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. So thank you, ladies, for being here. And we have done it, 250 episodes. And today's episode is going to be fun and simple. And we're going to do some reflecting. We've been at this for 5 years. So even now, we've been growing up in the last 5 years of working together. We've been friends for over 20. So a lot of adulting going on. So this episode is about adulting and what it means to adult. But interestingly enough, it's going to go everywhere and anywhere because adulting is different for everyone. And so when I was thinking about this topic, I was thinking about how, you know, sometimes when you're in your 20s and your 30s and you think, when I'm an adult, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, or it's going to look like this. Or I always imagine like a house where I'm listening to Sade. Like that's adulting, right? But anyway, so today we're going to think about now as cuarentonas y buenonas, what does adulting mean to us? How do we know we're doing it now? Is there anything left to do that we're like, oh, that's when I'm adulting, when I'm 52, when I do X, Y, Z. But before we get into that topic, and we hope everyone will stick around and listen to it because I'm sure it's going to be a fun one. We're going to check in with my co-host, amigas, Vero and Ceci. How are we doing today on this Monday morning, episode 2 for today?
Good. Girl, you've been listening to Sade desde que estábamos in college.
I've been such a mature college student since the day.
Sí me acuerdo.
Girl, I met Sade in a very different way. I won't tell you guys later.
I know. That's why I love her. She's so everywhere. You could have her for anything. Dinner, sexy time. Adult
time. Adult time, for sure. Pero sí me acuerdo de eso siempre de ti, Irene.
Yeah, but that, I don't know. I always imagined I was being an adult listening to Sade. So maybe that's why I was bumping her at 18 because I wanted to be an adult. What about you, Vero? ¿Cómo andas?
Bien. Adulting. Showing up, girl. Showing up. Being an adult means that you show up. You can't just be like, ay, ahora me voy a quedar en la casa y no voy a hacer nada. No, showing up, being the best adult I can today. The best adult I can be today.
Yeah, sometimes we can't revolt and go back to being kids, though we wish we could, and we could have simpler times and easier times and just sleep in. Like I was telling the girls this morning that it was so weird. It was at 9 a.m. and my husband was still asleep in bed, and I thought, wow, like that's so not him. He does not do that. He gets up early. He sets his alarm between 4 and 5. He naturally wakes up. You know, he's definitely not in bed past 6 ever. Like it was amazing. We're talking with all 3 of the kids yesterday. Actually, we were having lunch about sleeping in or being a morning person or a night owl because my oldest is looking for compatibility with his freshman match, if he can do it, if he can find someone to match with for his freshman dorm. And we were talking about like the difference between like someone who sleeps a lot or doesn't, or someone who stays up late, or the temperature that you like or music that you like. And we were talking about how in college Diego was definitely someone who would sleep in, and he doesn't do that anymore. He really hasn't for the last, I don't know, like 15 years. Like he does not sleep in. And to me, that's like, that is adulting. Like he gets up early. It's early. He has to be up, and he has his routine in the morning, and it's like the plants, the dogs, the house. And it's like such an adult thing. I think that routine, that morning routine. But we were talking to our 17-year-old son about like, these are like now choices you have to make. Like you're going to live with another person, and how important is cleanliness to you? How important is noise levels and a social person versus not a social person? And it's so weird because that's like having an adult conversation all of a sudden, because he's going to be 18 years old when school starts. He's going to live with another 18-year-old. And these are still little kids. There's, you know, I don't know what mommy does for them or doesn't do for them. And Isaiah was like, I don't know if I can be in a room that has like food everywhere and cups and plates. And clearly we've raised him, like he keeps his room clean. And he's like, but I know that with clothes, like sometimes clothes is all over the place and I could be better. He's like, but at least once a weekend, I gotta like clean up my room. That's his vibe. That doesn't make him an adult, but that's his vibe. And that's what he's taken into college. And so everybody has a different vibe. So I got us thinking about this topic, thinking about the last several decades. What have you done in the last couple of years that you feel like, okay, I'm an adult? Like this is things that adults do. I've turned into an adult. Vittle's like my whole life. But what are the things that Vittle's face was like, girl, my whole life, I became an adult in the last 6 years. But like, what are the things that now you look back and you're like, I can't believe it. Like this is me being an adult. And I'll let you guys think about it. So you didn't have the question. I didn't have the question. I just came up with it. And I'll try to think of something to make some time as you all think of something, unless you have it. But,
girl.
Ceci's like, I think I have
Ceci.
it.
I think I have a couple things that come to mind. One is I can't remember the last time I went to a nightclub. I can't remember. That's, it's like, we don't go to clubs anymore. So that, getting excited about, well, we were talking about a little bit in last week's episode, changing things around the house. I get excited about that. I get excited about like, let me go clean my bathroom, the way I like it, and the drawers and things like that. I get excited because I just feel like I get rid of stuff, and clean, and I get excited about that. And, I talked about buying the things for the kitchen, the buffet, and organizing in a way, and I get excited about that. So I guess that makes me an adult, and planning things, and then being very, ¿cómo se dice? Mindful about how I spend weekends. Like weekends, I'm like, oh my God, one day out of the weekend, like I want to sleep in because I don't get sleeping. Speaking of sleeping in. So I'm like, one day, Saturday or Sunday, I just want to sleep in, and again, that means like 7 a.m. It's not really like sleeping in, but still, it's something.
Like now it's like, when is the last time you went to a nightclub, right?
Nightclubs, man. The last time was a strip club, and it was like, we don't belong here anymore, even though it's our favorite place. But anyways, no, when you said like, I'm like, well, I've been adulting for some time. Like it really, but there's just different levels of adulting. Like, I started thinking, I'm like, okay, when, I got my first little casita, and I had to pay my mortgage and like doing all these, but like it was so much easier then, right? You set up your house how you want it, how you feel it's perfect for you, and you pay your mortgage on time, and you pay your bills, and you have time for this, or you have time to come home, or you have time to not come home and stay out all night, or stay up all night and like wake up at the normal time, like nothing. But like entering the señora era is where it's like, for me, you guys, we've talked about it so many times, but yeah, my eyes lit up because I'm like, in the last, Kali's gonna be 7 this year. So like last 6 years, it's been like introducing 4 children into my life. It's been having a husband. It's been then letting go of my bachelorette pad and coming into this full on home with a full family, being twice the size, which is twice the work, plus kids, plus husband, plus trying to be everything else. I mean, there's parts I'm like, damn, I'm adulting, but like halfway, because this is just too much, man. This is a lot, And I think for me, I was always one that's like, sleep in, let's go. I would wake up early on the weekends, go on my long ass hikes, through from like the hills in PV to the water, chill the whole day and hike right back up, spend like just hours doing things for me that I wanted to do. And now it's just like, well, in this señora era, I have to make sure I wash up after the kids. I have to do this, I have to do that. But one thing for sure is like, I would love sleeping in. I am not a morning person, but in the last 6 years, it's had to change a little bit. I struggle, guys. Every day I do struggle. Like even getting up to, even when the babies were babies, like, you wake up because you have to. These babies need you, right? But, like I know that I have responsibility over so many little beings that I cannot just be like, well, I'm going to stay in bed till 10 and we'll figure it out. They'll get themselves dressed and fed and walk to school, I guess, but I've had to really make it happen. And it's part of adulting. It's part of like, my parents didn't have a choice either. Like when we were growing up, they like mi papá se emborrachaba ahí en la casa, no salía a las bars, no tenía amigos, él se ponía su peda to forget his troubles, and cope with whatever he had to cope with en la casa, y se dormía y amanecía como si nada, y se iba a trabajar. Mi mamá se levantaba a las 4 a hacerle lunch, my dad was at the house at 5. And then my mom would, maybe go back to bed and get ready, but she would get us up and get ready to go. But I'm like, they didn't have a choice. And it's kind of like me. We don't have a choice. Otto gets up, goes to work. Otto's like super disciplined. You guys were talking about like, Luis and Diego and how they're like Otto's very disciplined when it comes to like, I have to get up at 5. He has his alarm rings and he's up. For me, I'm like snooze, snooze, snooze. I purposely set up all those alarms. And even though Mel Robbins tells me, don't do it, just get up, count to 3 and get up. It's more of like, I gotta get up. And so I set up an alarm at 6 and then I put another one at 6:30 just in case, right? And then even then getting up for me at 6:30 is so rough because sometimes my sleep gets interrupted. But adulting means doing the things that you even don't like to do, and you do them because it's something that you need to. You don't like to do it. It's not that you want to do it, but these things need to get done. And they're for your own good. They're for the good of the people around you. And that's something I've been learning the last 6 years, because it doesn't once you think you have it down, fucking something changes. So adulting has also been for me doing the things I need to do and being adaptable to where it's like, yeah, this is something temporary. So let's work through it, So that's been my adulting for now, you guys. That's part of it.
Oh my God. Adulting. I was looking it up so we can actually read the definition for those listening. Like, obviously we're all adults here. This is not a podcast for anyone under 18, but it's the practice of behaving in a way characterized by adults. So to be an adult looks like paying your bills, doing mundane tasks, having a mundane routine. So the sentence here is, it feels good to take a step back from adulting and have someone else cook for me, which is funny, right? Like the Señora era is we're doing everything. Suddenly it's like we're the leaders of the calendar and cooking and taking care of bills. And it's a lot. Like it's a lot. It's a big change to it, to become an adult. But it's so interesting to be on different sides of the spectrum. We talked about it on last week's show, but like Bero's talking about all the things that I feel I was doing in my 20s, because that's when I was really jumping into motherhood in my late 20s, early 30s. And now I feel like on the other side of it. And I think like I finally feel like I'm adulting. How funny is that? So not to not give you guys hope, but I'm like, okay, now I really feel like an adult. Like when you feel like I'm about to have an 18-year-old child. So like, that's crazy. Like he's an adult. Like I think I better be adulting because I've raised one already to completion. And then it made me look at the map of like, I assumed that everywhere in the U.S., 18 was the age of majority. And no, that's not the case. I don't know if you guys want to guess. Does anybody want to know? There's one random state where you have to be 19 to be considered an adult.
Nebraska?
That's a good guess, but no.
Alabama.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, I love that. Ceci's face. You did not expect me to say yes.
No.
Randomly,
I said
you got
it randomly. I'm like, Alabama?
Alabama.
We got
Alabama.
we got a bone to pick with Alabama.
We go Alabama.
I got a bone to pick with them too. And then in Mississippi, you're considered an adult other than marriage. For marriage, you have to be 21. I didn't know that. Maybe because Mississippi is a little crazy. Maybe they needed to make it 21. I don't know. No judgment. Sorry. No judgment here. But yeah, everybody is 18 in every other state. Other than Alabama, you'd be 19 to be considered adult. Interesting if you go to college in Alabama. It's a whole year of minors running around as freshmen. This is the definition of adulting per Googling and like Oxford Languages and the Webster Dictionary. Talk about being an adult, talking about Webster Dictionary. Nobody really even has a dictionary. We look it up online.
Encyclopedia?
When I was thinking about, yeah, I know, right? We all grew up with encyclopedias. Where's that? When I was thinking about this topic too, I was in my kitchen, like serving myself a cup of coffee, and I was like, man, this is adulting. But one thing that I feel in the last year that has really made me feel like an adult is my home being the way that it is. I always thought I'm going to have a home. It's going to be like intentionally interior design. Like I'm going to buy all the furniture pieces. They're all going to make sense. It's not just stuff que me regalaron that I got secondhand that I've had for forever. And this is the first house where we did that. And it's like, everything is intentional. Every piece, every item, they all kind of work together. And I still look around my kitchen and I look around the living room. I'm like, what? And it may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it's like, this is adulting. Like, I knew that I bought this table at Magnolia and I didn't know if the chairs were going to match. And I took like hours to find the perfect chairs. And Diego was like, just buy chairs. And I'm like, no, it all has to have this purpose. And I didn't even know what was happening, right? But you look up and you're like, this happened. Like, this is an adult's house. And then I will have friends come over or friends of friends. Like, Mauri brought her friend over. Diego's younger cousin from New York came over and they're like, oh man, your house is like an adult's house. Like, we've gotten that compliment from several people, but they're younger. I mean, they're in their 20s, in their 30s. I think I probably was saying that at 4-year-old home. So I hope I was. Wow, your house is like an adult's house. But I love that. I think it's really cool. And all I think about is like, good. Like I wanted my kids to leave and go to college and have like a home they want to come back to and remember a home that was their parents had an adult house, not like a frat house or not like a house that had cosas que they collected since they first got married 1 billion years ago, or not like a college kid's house. I feel like my first house was like a college kid's house. They had like college furniture left over.
Where you guys lived
oh my God,
was
guys.
Like, we were all in college, but like the dollhouse was like college, the epitome of collegeness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was. It really was. But it was a college kid house. Era un desmadre.
Remember el sillón de Belinda? It was like so nice, pero terminó sucísimo, remember?
Yes. That was just
your guys' carpet was white.
Was gross.
Allegedly.
Yes, it was.
Carpet was allegedly white.
Not anymore.
Remember
that fridge? Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's why I hate washing dishes to this day. But I do it because I'm an adult and it makes me feel good to have a clean kitchen.
Yeah, no, our college experience was, I'm like dreading it for my son. Like, God, I hope he has like semi-decent clean roommates. But that's adulting, y'all. Like, that's adulting. Like, suddenly we keep things clean, I think, and have nice things and want to have nice things.
One moment you're cleaning up your friend's vomit, and the next thing you're cleaning up your kid's vomit. I remember I was telling you guys, Maura, Gali just like went projectile vomiting all over the house. And I'm like, I can't do this. But here's the part that's an adult. I have the little fucking wet vac, right? That I can wash with.
Yes.
And now I'm like, okay, don't worry. We're prepared for this. And it's just
that
insane. You know, like how
all
would
the stuff that you have as an adult.
And it's like ridiculous. But I'm like, see, hearing you talk about your house, I'm like, you know, like when, even in movies, like, they're like, oh, here's our house now. Oh, all the kids are gone, right? And because now you can have nice things. And it's like, I kind of look forward to that, but I think I'm gonna really cry when I don't have that, the craziness of the kids, you know? But I look forward to.
Yeah. No, I 1,000% agree. Like, we had everything brown like before it had to be like dark color. We can't have nice color things. We still don't really have a lot of glass plates. All my plates are very pretty, but if you were to touch them, they're plastic for a reason. I have very pretty 3 different sets of very, very pretty plastic plates. Like, someone listening to this is probably like, what, girl? And then I have this random set of glass that I never really use. And all the glass ones break. It is what it is, Vero. Like, I'm still in that stage. I told Diego, like, maybe one day we'll finally have glass everything because we can. But no, I remember when they were little, there was no clear colored, light colored comforters or carpets. I still don't have carpets on my floor, like now with dogs. So it probably will never happen, but we're trying to get there slowly but surely, have things that feel like we're adulting. But the thing you said about the vac, 1,000% yes. I have so many damn gadgets and gizmos to do things. Diego bought all these cool things to clean the pool, and everything's suddenly robotic and can be charged and everything's automated. That's adulting. Like when my blinds, Vero's over there getting hit with a stick. You're an adult that's getting beat up. That's like elder abuse over there in Vero's house because her daughter hit her with a freaking escoba. And she's got her pink, Vero's got her pink headphones
she
on.
is no hilarious. Joke, you guys. Oh,
no.
Speaking of gadgets, what is she hitting you with? What is that? Toy?
Girl, it's a toy. It's like the Mickey
it's
wizard wand.
It's going to break like your skull in half.
It's bigger than her, but it lights up. It's like this Mickey Mouse wizard wand.
God. And why it was $1 billion. You're so nice.
Why does it have to be so big? First of all, I know. It was.
That's my train of
thought. This is your college fund right here.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God. Once I got hit in the face so hard by one of those little things that you push and the bubbles pop, like a toy from the 80s. We had them, guys. Remember you push it and it was una bola that it would pop? My son lifted one really, really fast, hit me in the face, lip busted. It was terrible.
Oh.
Anyway, that's not an adult story.
I had 2 thoughts that I was going to say and I forgot. Oh,
I was just saying maybe it'll come back. Like I'm saying that my blinds are like automated. You press the button and your blinds go up and down like stuff. We were talking about stuff. Can you think of something, Ceci? Like the stuff that we have now that is like, oh my God, what?
I remember one thing because Vero was saying like, oh, we went from like cleaning your friend's vomit in college to cleaning your kid's vomit. And in my case, she cleaned my vomit in our 40s. Not too long ago.
Wait, in your 40s?
I got you, girl. I got you.
Yeah, cuando vino al funeral de mi mamá, pues
oh, that's right.
I drank. Well, es que le revolví. That's the thing. Adulting, not to mix alcoholic beverages. But that day, I was already too happy or too over the edge that I mixed it, without thinking about it. And then that got me sick. But ahí estaba Vero, cuidándome. So that's one thought. Let me see if I can remember the other thing that I was going to say.
That is hilarious. Well, all the practice from us being into adulthood way too fast in college has helped us now as actual adults. But what else in your journey as parents do you feel like, man, this is me. I've really grown up and I don't do the things I used to do. Or maybe there's some things we still do. There's some things that we probably have to not do anymore. We still do them and we should be better about it. What are those things that come to mind? I was thinking a lot about my son being 18 and feeling like, okay, I can raise a kid. Like when you're young, you're like, I hope I don't mess up my kid, right? And then you realize, okay, well now they're here. We got to keep raising them. They're young adults. They always need their parents, but you feel a peace, I think, when they're a little bit older that like, all right, so they got through school. Like he's a senior. He's got all these cords. He's graduating with all these acknowledgments. It's like, all right. And you think back to all the times when like they cried because they didn't want to do their math homework, or the times when you were like, should I push him to take this other elective? Should I not? Should I let him make his choices and play this sport, even if I think it's a violent sport? And yeah, he would do these things and he became this well-rounded teenager. And now he gets to have and stand on his own 2 feet. But at some point we were the adults, the parents, sort of figuring it out. I always tell the kids all the time, like, I don't know what I was doing with my first. They all know it. Like the oldest, he was our guinea pig. He knows it. The kids know it. The younger kids have it differently because we were raising our oldest while we were growing up. For sure. We made a lot of mistakes raising the oldest. And now we're looking at it and we're like, okay, well, mistakes or not, like, seems like a pretty awesome kid and he's done some awesome things and we hope that he'll be okay in the long run. But I know that we were under financial stress, figuring it out, moving a lot when you have your oldest kid, and the little ones don't have any of that. So I guess that's adulting too.
I think one part of like adulting is like, right now we're talking, Mande bebé. Maura's making an appearance again. She wants more chicle, by the way. And I'm going to probably give it to her so she won't scream. But give me a second.
I've done that, girl. I've let my kids eat chapstick so they don't scream.
Cómetelo, mija, cómetelo.
Not my finest adult hour.
You kind of get just like, okay, pick your battles, man. When I was 18 and I moved away I turned 18 at Santa Barbara. So it wasn't like I was an 18-year-old leaving my house. I was 17 still. And I was one of the late bloomers. So I didn't turn 18 until January, okay? So I remember thinking like, oh my God, now things that I do as an adult, que no ni lo pienso, I'm like, I take care of my teeth, right? I brush my teeth every day. I floss. I do all this stuff. Like you just learn to take care of your teeth because you know you need them. And in college, like, de milagro, a veces a lo mejor me lo cepillaba una vez al día, forget, maybe floss every no sé cuánto. But I realized how bad my teeth were when I had to, fly to Mexico when my cousin became a dentist in Culiacán. And my dad's like, te vas a ir a Mexico because we had not seen the dentist in forever, right? We didn't have health insurance or dental insurance. So I went to go there to Mexico during 9/11, right after, like when 9/11 happened, I was supposed to be flying back to come back to Santa Barbara. So it was at 2001. I think that was our sophomore year. But anyway, like now I know that dental hygiene is so important. And I'm like, that's something that we didn't, even though we were away as kids, like young adults, like it wasn't something that I knew I had to do it, but no one was going to make me do it, and now I do it because I'm like, well, I'm going to have these teeth with the rest of my life. And do I want to have dentures? Do I want to have missing teeth? What do I want for my future self? And it's definitely like how important like dental hygiene is for your overall health. And I think that's now one of the reasons why I floss every day, brush my teeth twice a day, sometimes even 3, depending on what I eat. It's so weird. But now it's like, I'm all about my teeth. And before I was like, pues si me lo cepillé, si no, pues ni modo.
That is such a good example of it all. I think that's also like not only is a growing up adulting thing, but also I think it's a socioeconomic shift. My kids are going to the doctor that they've always gone to in Manhattan Beach forever. She knows all of them. She's talked to them. She's seen them. They have their physicals. Whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. When I go to these appointments, I always think about how that was in my life. My mom avoided the doctor. It costs money. If you were sick, we went to Tijuana. Such a different experience with like going to a medical appointment, going to a dental. Our dentist was in Tijuana as well. So it's like we had that experience and we were good about doing it. But to us, it was like a medical tourism for sure. It's where we could afford it. We had to have like our person was allá, was always like a big old undertaking. And that's not how we're raising our kids. So whenever my son just had a physical, my younger son, and it was on the calendar and Diego's always on it with the appointments and stuff. And I just show up and I always get that feeling when I take them to the doctor, like this is such an adult thing, but it's not even a adult thing. Sometimes it feels like a first gen thing because I can't remember having physicals and knowing my doctor and they remembered stuff that I did. And like my mom just couldn't do that. She, first of all, didn't have access here because she didn't feel comfortable with paperwork and filling things out. And she also couldn't afford it. So our experience was just so different. And when I talk to the doctor, they remember all their appointments that they've had. The kids always remember because it's the same lady. And I'm like, wow, what an interesting, different experience. The first gen experience, they're not first gen. So their experience is their relationship, Vero, with going to the dentist, with going to the doctor is going to be so different and so informed by like, we make that routine for them now, but they don't get it even from me. Diego's been the one that's been on top of it for them to have their physicals. And when they were younger, I was the one because I was very good about baby care, wellness checks, da-da-da. But as they get older, it's the same thing. And he has been on it. And a sweet story with this last time when we took Noah, she came in, or the nurse had done the eye exam and I thought he bombed it. I was like, he's not really reading any of those letters. Like I thought for sure he's going to need glasses. He was looking a little nerviosito about that. The doctor comes in and is like, you've passed everything. Everything's all good to go. I'm like, okay. And then she's like, and even this is boop, 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 boop. Fine with weight, fine with this, fine with that. And he was so excited, but I didn't know why. She leaves the room and he's like, Mom, last time I came, has to do with my height, but she said I was a little overweight. I came with Dad. I was like, really? Yeah, last year. And I felt so embarrassed. And that's why I started working out. That's why I started doing the treadmill. That's why I did cross country. Guys, I thought my kid just got into running because he got into running. He got into running because the doctor like shamed him, and I didn't know that. And they don't mean to shame him. Same thing happened with Soph. Yeah. That doctor would tell her, you're a little overweight. Your BMI, you're this, you're that. You got to be active. Are you in sports? Anyway, they have this journey with their doctors. They know their journey. So she even brought up Isaiah. How's your son? How are his sports? How are this? I'm like, oh, he's leaving. He's going to be gone next year. You won't see him anymore. But that is such a factor of adulting, but also being from a different socioeconomic status where you can afford insurance or your job covers it and your kids have a routine with their doctor and it impacts their life. Guys, I thought it was me and Diego. It wasn't us. The doctor told our son, be more active, run more. And he took that and he ran with it. Days with his Apple Watch and being active. And I had no idea. You guys have no idea sometimes who's influencing your children, right? Good or bad. In this case, I'm so glad it was a doctor and not a bully at school, right? Telling someone, my son never really looked overweight to me. I'm sure it was a size thing, but I know my daughters had those feelings, but it's all been stemmed from going to the doctor, but it's good for them. It's good for them to have these conversations around health. We shouldn't be waiting until we're 20s and 30s and thinking about our BMI and our health and our activity level and all that good stuff. But that's definitely a factor of both those things at play. Any other examples before we wrap the show about how we feel we've grown up or haven't grown up? Anything we haven't done yet that we're going to do in our 50s? We're finally going to get there. We're going to do it later. We're going to be adults.
I think one thing that came to mind when you were talking about like the doctor and that being normal, like I get excited, not excited, but like, oh my God, I'm doing this. So we've always had Kaiser, and Kaiser sends like a questionnaire before the wellness check. And so I feel excited to do that for my kids. I'm like, it asks you, do they spend more than 2 hours a day watching TV? No. Do they have like, a balanced, healthy diet? Do they eat like, vegetables or fruit with yes, and so filling that out, I'm like, oh yeah, I feel like accomplished and I feel like excited to do it. And I'm like, oh my God, this is like you're saying, such an adult thing. The traveling with our kids. With us, we always just traveled to Mexico with my parents, and it was either sometimes en avión, most times manejando en un carro, nos íbamos manejando hasta Michoacán or la Ciudad de México. So with us, just being able to travel often with, or at least for my case, yearly with our kids, and to new areas of Mexico in our case. And then this year we're going to Europe. Like, te imaginas, like, de 7 años, like, us, like, cuando íbamos a imaginarnos, like, going to Europe at that age, like, and then you guys have gone to other countries with your little ones. So that's another adult moment, I guess, to be able to do that and introduce the next generation to these other cultures.
For sure, man. The traveling, I think, is huge. I think a lot about my kids, and you also kind of ingrain in them like your personality. Like if we were a sports family, they'd probably be a bigger sports family, but we were a traveling family. So they talk a lot about wanting to travel. Isaiah's looking for a roommate that likes to travel. Like, he defines himself as someone who likes to travel. Sophie does it too now. And I think it's really cool that they take on that identity of what they've always known. Like Sophie the other day was saying, like, Mom, when are we going to go somewhere where we stay there for like the whole summer or a whole month or two, like we did in Merida? Like, they're itching for that. And I'm like, I know, just this summer with Isaiah moving, it can't be the summer. And I almost feel like they're a little disappointed. Like, this summer is all about moving a kid to college, which isn't as exciting for our family. They're like another state a couple times for somebody to move there. Like, it's not the same. That's not traveling. That's adulting. So my kiddo, she wants to go somewhere for a summer. I'm like, maybe next summer once everybody settles in, and we'll do that for about a month's time. But then I think nobody does that. Like, nobody picks up and leaves for the whole summer. But she's like, it's been a minute. Like, I want to do that. So like, yeah, for sure. And then the oldest was talking about wanting to find a roommate that enjoys traveling too. He was also talking to his grandparents, yesterday at a 5K that we were at, to invite them to his graduation. We don't have a lot of tickets. I managed to get someone to give me a couple extra tickets. So we said, you can invite your grandparents if you have the extra tickets. It's like, exactly who I want to invite. Perfect. And if we end up with 2 others, I'll invite my Nino and my Nina, which is perfect because I think I'm going to pull it off. So he goes to invite his grandparents and eavesdropping, and he goes and he invites them fully in Spanish. He's telling them, and they're already inviting other people. And he's like, no. Actually, we only have 5 tickets. And he's having to explain to them in Spanish. I'm like, I love this kid. He's got it. He's adulting a little bit. And they're like, oh, so just you two. And I'm like, just you two. Come a little early. Blue, blue, blue. All in Spanish. And they asked him another question. He answered. And then, he was thinking of a word, and he's like, ¿Qué es la palabra seleccionar? He says the word seleccionar. ¿Qué es la palabra? Seleccionar. Because they go, ¿qué te falta? What else are you pretty much done? Are you moving? He's like, tengo que seleccionar. Se dice seleccionar. And they're like, yeah. He goes, mi dormitorio. That's what he tells them. Like that. Seleccionar mi dormitorio.
Look at him.
I was like, what the hell? His Spanish is better than mine. And I turn around and I go, si habla español, mijo, ¿verdad? Si habla español. All like chiviada, very excited, but presumida. My proud in-laws are like, yeah, they're all going to end up like that. You'll see Sophie too and Noah too, because I've always sworn to them, they may not start like that, but I think they'll end like that, speaking Spanish. And him in his way, but it made me really happy for him because I thought, if this is true and he plans to travel in college, I know how important it is to at least know more than one language, especially when you go to Europe. When you go to Mexico, not everyone speaks English. That's sometimes very egocentric of us to think that people will. Now, I know English is spoken in a lot of countries, but it's not everywhere. And sometimes you need to lean on another language. And I'm happy that he has that. And then he can be confident and travel. And like Ceci says, he's been to places. He's left this country. So he can leave other countries and feel confident and meet people both in English and in Spanish. And it's a great feeling to know that we did that for our kids. And our parents did it for us. Back to us. Like they brought us here. We got to learn English and Spanish. Like we may take that for granted, but as first gen Latinos, we get to grow up bilingual, truly bilingual. And it's a beautiful thing that almost opens up your world as an adult because a whole nother world is opened up to you. Every language you know. Like imagine our friend Sandrita that knows all those languages. Todo el mundo se le abre, ¿verdad? But that's the beauty of them being bilingual. Anything else before we wrap up the show? Because I'm going to do some general announcements. Go for it, Vero con su chicle.
Oh, no, ya me quité el chicle. Oh, no, I think we're good. I think we have brought up some good adulting things onto this podcast. Good job.
Perfect. So we are going to wrap today's show. This is, again, episode 250. It's so exciting because we've gotten to this point. You were listening to this hopefully in the middle of June. And at some point this week, we'll have launched our tickets for our Breakthrough Brunch happening on October 12th. From 11 to 2 in Southern California. You want to get your tickets. You want to get them early. We're going to have an early bird sale at leveluplatina.com. We hope to see you there. Our panelists are incredible. The day is going to be so empowering, so fun, nice and sunny. You know SoCal. It's going to be a great day. We will have our beautiful She Shed moment. It's an Instagrammable location. That's why we keep coming back. So we hope that you will get information on the Breakthrough Brunch. Often people fly in for this event. It's that accessible, that affordable. Get your ticket to LA. Join us. Get your ticket at leveluplatina.com. Tell your friends about it. Save the date, October 12th in SoCal. So that's for the brunch. So please join us or ask us any questions about it. You can always ask us in the DMs at Level Up Latina on Instagram and Facebook. You can email us. Our email is admin@leveluplatina.com. Any questions or anything about this show, any examples of your adulting life and what you now do that you didn't think you were going to ever do, or you can't believe you do it now, or it's different than your childhood. We'd love to hear your stories and share them. Don't forget to check out everything at leveluplatina.com that has to do with one-on-one coaching. All three of us are taking clients right now, and our group coaching community, the Guilt-Free Squad. It is such a cool community of women that come together, share experiences, and learn together. We have a monthly workshop that we do. I love that we have a woman on the Guilt-Free Squad that just set up a summer calendar and dates and all the fun stuff she's going to do in SoCal. I mean, what a cool group of women. So I'm already signing myself up for beach days and bike days. And there's going to be like a concert. There's going to be, I think, a happy hour. But anyway, that kind of stuff happens in the Guilt-Free Squad. You don't have to only be in SoCal. We have women from all over the country that join the Guilt-Free Squad and get a lot of value out of it. And then they'll have their own little pop-up events where it makes sense and meet each other in their own town. If they want to, you don't have to. It's all virtual and accessible. And it's only $30 freaking month to be in the Guilt-Free Squad. It's a deal. People love it. Try it out for $30. You spend $30 on a sandwich in LA, and this is much better than a sandwich. So las queremos mucho. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for being here at the Level Up Latina 250th episode. Love you, girl.
Bow, 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 bow. Love you. Don't forget to level up. Don't forget to level up. Those are fireworks.
You did it.